Ret set ter. What's up, my dudes? So, we're on Sugar Ridge MX 20 laps. I haven't played Reflex in about a couple of months. Is what it feels like. It might have just been about a month or something like that. Last time I made a video on this, last time I played it, so wanted to go in here and test this out because I know I did this on the other main sand track of the game. What is it? Sandwick or whatever the hell. So, yeah, I wanted to go on here and kind of test it out, but I just got to thinking before I got in here and started making this video of the fact that if MX Simulator was not a game, I would still be playing Reflex. That this would still be my motocross game. You know, it's so weird. It is so weird to think about that in your head, like how just simply if there was no MX Simulator, this would be the game right here. I guarantee you everybody would still be playing this. Ain't nobody would be, you know, everybody on one of those other games. It's crazy to me because I played this game so much and I'm still thinking in my head right now, if it wasn't for MX Simulator, this would still be my game. Oh, it's just insane. Yeah, that's one little tricky area right there you got to be careful of and not get the auto respawn going on. But, yeah, we'll see what kind of rut designs we can get going here. Ooh, got to get back used to my turning. What's a little bit confusing about this is I basically have, like, my arcade motocross game controller, and then I have my MX Simulator controller, which, you know, I've had about 69 of those, so don't worry. I've blown out a multitude of different MX Simulator controllers, but I try to keep them separate so that I don't go in there. I just find it easier to do it like that, where I don't go in there and wear out my MX Simulator controller so quick and from playing a certain like arcade motocross game or whatever, and try to keep it separate that way that whenever I get on this game or any other arcade motocross game, it's like with my arcade motocross controller, so I kind of know it about how wore out it is, and then I can go on MX Simulator with a different controller and kind of keep up with how worn out that one is. So I do that so that I can keep up with it better, but it does make it tricky because one of them can be more wore out than another one. So whenever I go like to these arcade motocross games after playing on MX Sim, it can be a little bit weird because this one's a little bit looser right now than my my actual MX Simulator controller. So, and that's a really interesting point. It brought me into the idea of back when I played Reflex a lot, I didn't even, that was back before I really understood, like, oh, hey, you could have a super old controller and that could be affecting how the steering and the turning and all that feels in the game. I didn't even realize that back then. So I was riding with the controller that I'd been just wearing absolutely completely out on Reflex every day for, you know, years on end and was still playing with the same controller. So, but there's an interesting thing where, like, the looser you can make the controller feel, sometimes it can feel a little better on Reflex. I don't know. To me, that's something I've noticed with it after playing it for a really, really long time. But I would, like, get on, my buddy would bring controller over, right, and would play split screen Reflex, and I would play it on his controller, and I'd be like, what the hell? The whips feel totally different. This is crazy. Like, what's going on? Why does it feel so different? And it wasn't until way after that it finally clicked in my mind, like, oh, hey, it's the controller and how worn out it is. But find it to be kind of funny. Yeah, we're already getting some really gnarly ruts going on here. I don't think I've ever actually done, you know, that. I mean, I've rode a lot of laps on every track in this game, but not particularly this one on a video. I haven't done that yet, so that was my real goal here. I wanted to come in here on this sand track. As you guys know, the sand tracks in this game, they get gnarly and a half, to say the least. So either way, don't forget, you guys can go add me up on PlayStation Network or Xbox Live. My name is just Spencer Turley, no space, no capital. I do have a couple of guys added up on there, but it's just like my Steam name and my Instagram, Twitter, all that. But I was just letting some of you guys know that are more on the console-based type of games. I will be playing Blackout on PlayStation on there, so go add me up. We can squad up on that. And also, obviously, a lot of other games. A lot of, like, I really love to play Reflex on console still. That's my preferred way to play it. As you guys know, I've made a video explaining all that back in the day, but I say back in the day, it was a couple months ago, but yeah, that basically, there's a certain like reminiscing, certain thing that the Xbox 360 Reflex version gives to me that the PC version just doesn't do. Obviously, it's totally minus all those custom tracks, which is a big deal, and that's why a lot of people play the PC version of Reflex, you know, and most people have totally migrated to that. But for me personally, the feeling on the bike, there's nothing else like it other than the console version, man. This is my arcade motocross game right here. Reflex on 360, baby. Unbeatable at the current moment. Like, ain't nothing else beating this right here as far as arcade motocross games goes. So, but yeah, dude, back on another tester video, baby. Got it going on. Let's see. There's a couple little cool lines you can get going on this track. Oh my God. Yeah, I was out of the rut, went back in the rut, and it totally flipped me over there. That was kind of cool. So it does kind of build this where it starts to kind of cup out that one spot, and then you can triple that super easy right there. You can kind of like triple sideways down the hill. I know all those weird, crazy lines that you can hit on Reflex. Some of them, it would take me a little while to kind of remember them, but trust me, man, like you just get a certain connection to the tracks when you've rode 5,000 laps on each and every one of them. It gives you a different level of respect for tracks and how you learn the lines and all that kind of stuff on them. But this track's really cool because gotta be careful. Woo! A little crazy moment, epic win right there, dude. This track right here is pretty cool because it will make quite a big rut going on in the corner where you can actually somewhat go quite a bit faster on certain areas of the track once she gets pretty good and rutted up. Got to be careful right there. Woo! This is got to relearn Reflex here a little bit. Get a little gnarly on me, bro. See, that's that triple I was talking about right there that you can jump down. Just such a weird section that no one would even think that you could hit, basically. Yeah, it's so crazy when I think back to the way that like the certain things that I would learn in Reflex and get really good at, specifically the leaning aspects of it. And like Reflex, it's a lot more based upon leaning back in the corners, I've noticed. And I've said that in some older videos, but like with MX Simulator, you can't just lean back all the time like that with specific setups, or you'll flip over, you know what I'm saying? It's got a little bit more control than that, but like with Reflex, it will flip over on you, but there's a certain, like, that's how you get a lot of power out of the corner on Reflex, is really working your, like, lean forward and then lean back coming out of the corner. MX Simulator, it's a little more complicated than that, but like, that's what I'm like. See, like that right there. You see how fast I railed that corner? That's because I was actually leaning back in the corner. But my mind is in that MX Simulator mode where it's like, don't lean too far back or you're going to flip over, right? So it's, I'm almost having to, like, totally jack my mind right now and say, no, dude, just lean back. You'll be okay. You know, that's something I was really good at back in Reflex, being able to know exactly how far to lean back, when to lean back, where in the corner to lean back. I mean, it was just insane, man. It was insane the level I had this game learned. But yeah, it's funny how you come back to something like this, and I realized, like, this was my MX Simulator before MX Simulator. Let that shit soak in, dude. Is that not so weird? Like, I just think about all the hours I spent on this, and then going to MX Sim and all the hours I've spent on that. It's just crazy. Those two games in particular, Reflex on 360 and MX Simulator, I mean, I put more time into those games than, like, I put more time just in Reflex than all the other motocross games combined, especially Simulator too. It'd be interesting if I had a way of calculating all the time I put into console Reflex and all the time that I put into MX Simulator, because I don't really know. Like, if you go to directly comparing the two, I don't know. I would assume that I would have more on Simulator. I have to have more time into Simulator. But I know I had a shitload of time into Reflex too, man. Like, I mean, I literally, back in my prime on Reflex, I could have competed with anyone. Anybody, bro. Like, back when I look at it now, it's crazy that I think about that. But, my racing craft and some of the stuff I could do in this game, man. It was top tier for reflex standards for sure. It was up there, bro. Whoa, got a little Honda Bresky going down. But I know a lot of people love to say, oh, I was so good at reflex, and they actually weren't, right? But I'm telling you, I mean, good God, man. Like, I don't know how much more I could have done in the game after playing it for 4 or 5 years straight every single night. Like, I was pretty much, like, to the maximum, which is crazy because reflex has that feeling of, like, an endless skill gap. But once you get to MX Sim, then you really find out what an endless skill gap is. So, but yeah, man, you can see this rut specifically in that corner. It's interesting how it's like the AI will dig out a super rut almost to the outside of the corner, which is really bizarre because it makes it to where you can't jump that next jump as far. Oh my God, hitting crazy terrain deformation kickers off of that, almost launching me all the way to that other jump on that upper side. God dang, I got to figure out that right there. It's almost like it didn't build that rut very good this time in particular. I know I've rode on this track before where it builds it way better than that, but for whatever reason, that one's a little weird on how it's doing in this current moment. Oh my God. Yeah, that slide right there will happen if you're leaning back when you shouldn't be. You know, you're leaning back too much. That little slide moment will happen. Oh my God. These lappers, though. Yeah, trying to remember going through the rut skis and stuff. We're kind of midways through right here, lap 11. So obviously you can see how gnarly this shit's gotten. I just love to go back to this game and show people like how cool, oh my God, how cool the terrain deformation really was, you know. So you can hit this on the outside, but then you're not jumping that all the way. It's kind of stupid and pointless. Holy shit. Both of those like massive hay bales are just chilling right there on the side of the track. Ooh, baby, staying low, James Stewart style. Woo! Get a little squirrely, boy. Yeah, this is one of those tracks where you can get it going like, oh my God. Ooh. Yeah, getting a lot of micro bumpage going on here. Got to be real careful and not have that bike just shoot right off the track. Ooh! Got that little epic final save thing that Reflex had. That was a cool addition, but I don't know how necessary that really is in a motocross game, you know. I don't know, you know, how important that actually is, but yeah, I did do a wide open video on this track with a KTM 252 smoker. Some of you guys probably remember that video, and I was going off on that. With these rut tester videos, it's not so much about me saying, oh, look how fast I am at reflex. It's really just more so testing out the ruts. I mean, I'm trying to hit different lines, trying to go in different ruts. That's why it's rut tester. So yeah, so now that jump's getting pretty wore down. These couple roller jumps right here are getting pretty wore. But the sand tracks, hands down, are the ones that change the most in reflex, as they should be, I would assume. And your dry hard packs should be the ones that change the least amount, which seems how it is in reflex. Oh man, look at the corner. Holy shit, that is awesome. I don't know. Reflex, my little baby, dude. And I'm so glad that this is the one that I really started on, like the first one I really played. See, like, you can see me right here. Even though I've had it wide open basically this whole time that I've been riding right here. Pretty much. Had it wide open. And I know in my head that I'm not going nowhere near as fast lap time-wise that I could be. Just by the way I'm kind of weirdly sweeping some of these corners and not really gliding over the roughness as good as I could be and certain stuff like that. So even when you get to the point in reflex where you're just all the way wide open around every track, there's still more to it as far as like skill gap and faster lap times. There's still more to it. There's better ways to hit corners. There's better ways to dive over roughness. There's all of that, dude. So, you know, it just goes to show you, like, there's just so much to it once you get to a certain level. See, like that right there, hit that corner way too far to the inside, trying to not run into that lapper, but it jacked up all my momentum, and he almost passed me right back. Really cool line you can hit right there, jumping all the way to that. See, this corner, if you hit it right, you can glide right over. Oh, damn. So I'm trying to dodge the lappers at the same time. Let me just blame it on them lappers real quick, you know what I'm saying, dog? I hit one of those little inside kicker bumps right there, flipped me right over. That was kind of cool how it did that. But if you'll glide right in these ruts perfectly, I mean, it'll amaze you how much quicker you can get around the track versus just, sometimes games, MX vs. ATV All Out, their original terrain information system, it felt like no matter how you was really hitting the ruts and the roughness or whatever, when that All Out first came out, it wasn't like it was really making you super fast or hitting it like the proper way. Does that make, I don't know if that makes any fucking sense. You got to understand what I'm saying. It's a little more complex of an idea here. You got to understand, like, certain, what I'm trying to get at, let me try to explain it in a simple way. Basically, reflex, when the terrain deformation starts going, there, you can go a lot faster depending on how good you hit it. Whereas, like, when All Out first came out, it didn't even really matter. Like, even if you hit it perfectly, it didn't feel like it was really making you all that much faster because of the kind of the way the on-ground physics feel in that game. It just doesn't, I don't know. But their new terrain deformation in there, haven't had just a crap load of time on that with a dirt bike yet, so I can't really tell you on that. But I just know when that game first came out, it was kind of like that. That is so weird how the AI kind of sweeps up that jump face versus just going up the inside. That's very interesting how they do that. I don't really know why they do that, but oh man. Yeah, the trick is like trying to keep your wheels on the ground, You get all this micro bumpage going on, and you're just trying to keep the wheels on the ground. That's really the whole trick too, because if them wheels ain't on the ground, you ain't going nowhere, dog. And a lot of people say that just from going off of a jump face, but it's also true when you're hitting a lot of micro roughness. You also don't want to be in the air bumping all the time. You want to be on the ground going, even on your roughness areas. So, there's a, oh my God, I did it again. Look at anybody say deja vu. Yeah, I'm hitting that. I'm trying to be a fool hitting that too far to the inside there. I thought I was going to be able to dodge that a little bit, but yeah, you can definitely feel once I've gotten like in that lap 13, 14, 15 range, 16 now, I'm feeling, even though it's wore down some areas, it's not like it just smoothed them out. They're actually still quite rough. I can feel the response of the suspension on the bike. I can feel that where it's like it's just constantly giving me the vibration on the controller. I can't help but laugh at that, but it's giving me a lot more of that vibration, like it's actually made a lot of small braking bumps even within the areas that are super terrain deformed, like whereas some games, once they start getting terrain deformation on an area, it's like it just smooths it out. But it doesn't feel like that on this track. It feels like it's just continuing to make it more and more rough and gnarly. To me personally, that's what it feels like. So, yeah, let's try to go outside here. Woo! Get a little whippage going on there. Man, yeah. I mean, just, whoa, baby. Just call me Travis Pastrana. Oh, man. I mean, it just, you can think about playing Reflex for, like, your standard 3-lappers or 6-lappers or whatever, but it's like it turns into a whole nother game when you look at it like riding on a track for 20 laps, or I think you can do it for 30 on Reflex, too. It totally changes the track. It, like, totally changes the game in that type of sense, and just opens up the doors for the amount of laps you can and hours you can spend on tracks, frankly. And what's funny about it, what's kind of comical and irony type thing to that is, being able to run more laps, making you want to run more laps because it's higher terrain deformation. Running more laps and makes the tracks really interesting and fun, and making them different types of ruts and all that kind of stuff. It's just so cool how Reflex has the ability of making such different types of ruts on different types of tracks. I want to go in there and do some more rut tester on like some of the other tracks where it's, some of the more brownie mixed style tracks, and some of those, try to get more of an idea of how those feel. And one of the more hard pack dry slick tracks, I want to get on another one of those and test that out. So either way, man, we're lap 19. Been on it, dude. How many times I fell down? Like, I don't know, maybe 2, 3, 4 times, something. Not terrible, but that is such a cool, when you think about racing your buddies on this long of a race, and like you could be as super hardcore skill, competitive nature to this game. If you got 2 dudes that were really good at Reflex and you put them both together for 20 laps on one track or something, That would be so much fun, and the mental aspect of trying to stay on the bike for that long and not wreck and catching up, and oh man, it's so much fun playing this game with friends and racing against other people. That's something I don't experience a whole lot nowadays. I used to back in the day with my old high school buddies playing split screen, but nowadays I don't do that, right? Because it's just not. There's a lot of people on the PC version, which is fun, but not a whole lot of ability to race people on the old school 360 version. So yeah, it's cool how it makes that ridge line right there in that corner. That is awesome. But overall, it's just that, and that's the way how it'll make different types of ruts in I want to say a road, but we're not on MX Simulator here, Spencer. You know, it's like it'll make cool, interesting, different types of terrain deformation ruts and stuff, and roughness in certain corners and certain areas, depending on a lot of it depends on how the AI just automatically decides how to hit it. So that's what really can change a lot of that. So I'm only a minute, what is that, a minute 12 ahead of the dude behind me. So yeah, we're not quite as far ahead as I could be, or I was having a lot of trouble in that corner for the longest time. Wasn't getting that proper sweep out of it, and then I'm hitting this damn this damn SpongeBob here on the inside, which is not actually a SpongeBob, but you know what I'm saying. Damn half a wheel like it was back in Reflex, but they made them yellow like a SpongeBob. That's what's funny. Look at that, though. I wish I could stop. Well, I can, but then I can't. Too big of a rut. Now you can't see it. But it makes a really cool ridge line where, like, it's almost makes it like an off-cambered area if you try to go too far to the inside of that section, just from how many laps the AI goes in that exact same rut on that area. So, but they don't do that everywhere. So it's interesting how it makes that in that corner specifically. So either way, man, having a lot of fun playing all different types of games. We're gonna continue to do that. And Jimmy Albertson behind me, bro. This is where they had Trey Kennard in there, James Stewie back in 9th. What the fuck? That is totally not accurate at all. I mean, unless you're talking about James Stewart 2000 and, what was it, 16, 15? That last year he rode, that was a little bit disastrous, but Ryan Sibson here, that's cool. Tyler Wharton, what? That's Michael Blows, he's in there. Bob Canary, thought it was Bobby Canary, maybe it's just, I don't know. Alex Martin's in here. That's interesting. What's up? Michael Blows and Chris Blows, both of those dudes are in here. Sean Hackley Jr. Wow, that's cool. How I got some of those little, not like super pro riders at the time yet. But either way, appreciate you guys watching all the video. Later, dudes.